everyone. Good morning. I hope all is well. All right. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Happy Fancy Friday. I am here in my home again with a beautiful mural presented by Lena Montoya when we first moved into our beautiful home here on Staten Island. We had commissioned her, but today is Fancy Friday, so you will see us doing two segments. The first is a free video webinar that we're doing right now. It's going to be about 20-30 minutes, and then afterwards we're going to do another segment of the Community Corner with Joanne Gerenzer and Carol Bullock from the Staten Island Pride Center. So let's get to it because there's a lot of things that are happening. So the reason why we decided to do this free video webinar is because we've had a lot of businesses, nonprofits, educators reaching out to us privately saying, hey, Jaclyn, how do you even utilize the space? And what about the tech requirements? And do I have to turn my camera this way? And natural lighting versus do I need one of these lights from Amazon before it became only emergency equipment that was delivered? So I figured that I wanted to do a seminar or a webinar actually online. There's just some basic tips and tricks. And of course, each of these items and resources are available for free or low cost to you. So let's get started. And we're actually on a platform called B.live. This entire presentation, just so you know, we will be posting online. It's in a PDF format. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out directly to us through Facebook Messenger. Right now, we do have the public chat. We have Julio Vincent Gambudo from Borough 5 Pictures, I'm sorry. And he's been doing an excellent job every night at 6 o'clock. And he even does an adult kind of trivia, which is super fun when you have cocktails. But we'll talk about that later. So this platform is called B.live. We're going to move to the first slide. And Jessica, who works at JMT Media, is actually managing all of this behind the scenes. So why are we doing this? You know, we want to keep your organization, we want to keep your business moving along. We're going to talk about a few different things. Options to consider. There's 3 different major platforms right now. I'm sure that in the next 60, 30 days, there will be a plethora of platforms. We've already seen other PR firms, other consulting firms starting to utilize platform because we need content on Facebook. Because here's what happens. If you don't have any content, that's it. It just becomes just nothing but imagery and galleries, which are beautiful. But right now we're trying to transition a lot of our clients into the digital landscape. We're going to talk about your audience. So for everyone that's tuning in to this free webinar, our audience specifically is Staten Island. There's a few reasons for that. So one, Staten Island as a whole, we've done our market research in the past 5 years that we've been in business, and we're still in business, thank God. But one of the things that we've learned immediately is the Staten Island market is on Facebook, secondary is Instagram, and third is Snapchat. So a lot of our content, you're seeing this come through on Facebook, and there's a reason for it because our particular audience is on Facebook. So depending on which resource you're going to use, there's a different audience, and we'll go through each of those. And then outreach. Why? Once you do any sort of Facebook Live, a webinar, etc., now what? Once it's done, once it's online, what's the outreach? And then what's the follow-up? So we're going to move on to the next slide. Oh, Julio, guys, I'm telling you, his show is super, super hilarious. So let's move on to the next one. Right now, as we know, the world as a whole, and even New York City, this coronavirus epidemic is affecting everyone from small businesses to nonprofits, mid-sized businesses, huge corporations, influencers, and everyone in between. So this situation is a testament to the raw power of social media and how you can utilize it. Julio Gambudo, I'm going to use him as a reference. He directed and wrote this beautiful movie called Team Marco about technology and the transition, kind of coming of life age transition for a young boy named Marco to learn how to not use technology. And so, but now we're actually starting to use technology. But in the meantime, I would recommend for you to follow Team Marco on Instagram and Facebook. Um, but anyhow, there's a lot of information that's put out there. We even had someone send us an article that was actually published 2 years ago, and we had to look at the resource and the site to say, oh, I can't share this. This will freak out the entire Staten Island community. So you have to be mindful of the content that is being circulated and the responsibility for each person posting. Usually in the past, when most people post something on Facebook, the response is, well, this is my Facebook page, and if you don't like it, which is totally fine, but you do have to be responsible and accountable for any information that you're distributing out there. We've been using this hashtag, social distancing is digital, right now. And so we hope that those that are following us, that you're utilizing that hashtag and that you embrace. It's just like me. I really didn't want to do accounting paperwork like 2 weeks ago, but you just have to embrace it because that's the transition and the landscape that we are in. So we're going to move on to our next slide. So here are the options to consider that we're going to be talking about. So first off, anytime you use any of these platforms, you have to test it out. So the first is actually Zoom, which is a lot of people are using Zoom. We'll go into that. Be Live. We actually started using this first, second week of March. And we're so happy that a lot of the other organizations and partner companies that we've been working with are starting to transition to Be Live, and we'll explain why. And then, of course, there's Facebook Live, the good old, hi, this is Jaclyn from JMT Media, Facebook Live. And so we'll go through that as well. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's the power of Zoom. There's things that I like, there's things that I don't like. So first off, the benefits. You can actually have multiple participants up to 100 people. Most companies right now are doing their conference calls through Zoom. It can stream to main social media platforms, including Facebook, not Instagram, LinkedIn. There's options for virtual backgrounds. Actually, if you visit jmtmedia.nyc, we created some templates of all the places that we love on Staten Island, so you can use that as a backdrop. I have this beautiful backdrop right behind me, but again, there are templates on our website. So, and you can customize them. And if you need assistance, just reach out to us, DM us, so you can brand it so it looks official coming from your organization. And you do have the ability to live record all of the videos. But there are some challenges, and we experienced this with a few different webinars that were being hosted in these past 2 weeks. There's unfortunately no option for branding or graphics or any sort of colors to customize your Zoom platform. It's literally boxes, just straight boxes. The only customization, like I mentioned, is your backdrop. So we have some templates on the jmtmedia.nyc website. The live stream features are extremely basic. And what I mean by that is audio, graphics, graphic cards, visual presentations. That's extremely hard to integrate in Zoom, especially when you have a room, what we call a room or a gallery of 100 people. And it's not as user-friendly for the first-time streamers. Many of you, if you've used Zoom, there's a link you have to click, there's a password, there's a code word, a meeting room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we recommend to utilize the power of Zoom when you're doing a private meeting, a private consultation, you're doing a webinar for your staff internally. So Zoom's a great platform and resource to use internally. Right now, though, just a couple of things to note. Zoom is for free. However, the problem is that any of these platforms, if there's a major press conference going on from the White House to the governor's office, to city council, to the mayor's office, all media outlets are streaming on the same channels we are. So you have to be mindful of any time that you set up any sort of Zoom webinar, Zoom session with your staff, etc. So let's move on to the next. Okay. Perfect. So Zoom on the front end and the back ends. As you can see, it's a little overwhelming if you've never used any sort of platform for live feeds or webinars. To the left of the image, you can see on the screen here, there you can have multiple people, but here's the problem. You have to mute every single person. So the interactivity is very limited. You literally have to go through chat boxes. You can have people digitally raise their hands. On the right-hand side, that's the back end. Now, the back end is interesting because there's so many additional links, content to have. Again, if you are hosting a smaller conference internally, we would recommend Zoom, but you do have to have someone that's managing everything on the front end. So let's move on to the next slide because we have a few more things that we want to get through. This is one of our favorites. So we learned this through trial and error when we first did the first community corner. So Be Live, it's B.live. B.live allows you the ability to customize the branding, the logo. Right now, we are on B.live platform. You get to, of course, stream to main social media platforms, including Twitch. So if you are a gamer, you can use this platform for Twitch. If you're trying to find something to do besides a Facebook, Twitch is amazing. This also goes through Facebook. This can go through Instagram channels or Instagram TV. It's extremely user-friendly, like to the point that we've trained probably 8 different clients already on how, excuse me, on how to use this platform. The other part is it allows you to create an agenda with a dashboard, which we'll see shortly on one of our graphics. And you can have a private chat with other guests. So right now, as I'm doing a Facebook, a Be Live with y'all, on the right-hand side, you can't see it now, but we'll show you in a moment, you have a public and a host chat. So I can see when people are commenting. So feel free to keep adding questions, comments, and then we can respond to that. Some of the challenges are there's not a lot of high-level customization. So as you can see, we're switching and toggling between images and then the video that you see in the bottom right-hand corner. And so there's limitations within that, which we'll go over. The other challenge is this does not support more than 4 guests at a time. So you can have guests in what we call a digital green room or in a docket. So right now you can't see my platform, but down below I have what I call the green room, digital green room. So let's move on to the next slide here. And I'm going to take a sip of my handy dandy JMT Media coffee. Okay, so on the front end, as you can see, there's a lot of customization. So on the left-hand image, this was actually the very first ever digital town hall hosted on Staten Island. We're super proud that JMT Media was able to host and do this. And we've seen now politicians are starting to use the platform. But certainly there's different ways to customize. So the background, of course, you can customize. You can put people's logos, company logos. It's a little bit more clear and looks modern and refined. And so, of course, the imagery and everything on the background is customizable. On the right-hand side is the actual platform. So I don't know if y'all are able to see, but you can see on the far right-hand side, it has public and then it has host chats. And so each of those, the public are the questions that are coming through, and the host chat is between me and the producer on the back end, transitioning and speaking with each other. So this is a really great platform if you're wanting to publicize content. So for the trivia, I would highly recommend for Giulio Gambuto to use this platform. It's fun, it's interactive. You can have guests come in, but again, you're only limited to 4 guests. So what I would recommend is your 4 guests, after you have them on, if they're answering questions, you can essentially remove them as a source, and then you add in new guests with a specific hyperlink. So let's move on to the next slide, y'all. All right, so this is your traditional Facebook Live. A couple of notes about this. So benefits, of course, creates real-time connection with the audience. Christine Garlisi over at the Hilton does an amazing job with her Facebook Lives. But a big part of it is also because practice makes perfect. She knows how to do an intro, she knows what the content is, and then how to close it out. And then, of course, tagging all the organizations and nonprofits and businesses that come through Hilton Garden Inn or the ballroom or hosting any sessions. This can actually be done easily through your phone, through a tablet, or a computer. The only downfall is doing it through your computer is you're stationary, unless you're moving your computer with you, which is a little hard. So I would recommend using your iPhone or a smaller tablet. You get live notifications from viewers instantly. So when we do our Be Live Community Corner, I can't even see the analytics of this until after. So most of our videos are getting anywhere from 15 to 2,000 views. On live, sometimes you only get 40 or 50 people at a time. So it just really depends on, again, who your audience is. The other part is it says, of course, great for getting your message quickly across. Most people get an alert on their phone. JMT Media is doing a live feed. It's the same thing. Your followers will know who is when you're posting up new content or when you're doing a Facebook Live. And then, of course, everybody is being mindful of their budgets. So it is free to utilize Facebook Live. And then, of course, challenges. This is the hard part. It's all about no guarantee of quality of video. So again, I would not recommend, and we've had to adjust, many of you have seen, we've had to adjust our community corner segments into depending on the press conferences and the press conference timelines. And I know it sounds strange, but we are doing everything in real time because we want to make sure that we bring great quality to you. So Julio, again, oh, that looks great. And the ability to have guests would be great. Yep. So when you're doing any sort of Facebook Live or Be Live segments or anything like that, you guys may want to change your time frames now. 6 o'clock is a popular time. 9 o'clock is a popular time. So now we've moved our segments to 11:30 or 11:15, depending on, of course, the press conference announcements. Unfortunately, one of the biggest challenges, there is no room for error. So let's just say you're using your Facebook and your phone falls. People will see that. People will see everything. Like even prepping for this seminar, I made sure that my son has his snacks, that he's ready to go, that we have time to dedicate to y'all because you don't want any interruptions. And it says on here, one of the challenges, not as professional for businesses. So it depends, again, on who your audience is. On my personal Facebook page, on Jaclyn Tecarante's personal Facebook page, I do a lot of Facebook Lives, but we don't necessarily do a lot of Facebook Lives on the JMT Media page, just because there's a certain brand and aesthetic that we're trying to keep. So let's move it along to the next slide. Question that we received: what is the cost of Be Live? Be Live, just so y'all know, has a free 14-day free trial period. I would try it for free first. Then the actual fee can range anywhere from $20 to about $35. So I would highly recommend to do this for free. Try it out, play with it. If you don't like it, you didn't lose anything. You're trying it out. Okay, so moving on, online webinars. Why are we doing this? So of course it helps your business generate leads, but it also helps your nonprofit organization generate interest from new patrons or clients, but there also has to be a reason for what you want to say. So you can't just do a Facebook Live or a Be Live segment and you don't have anything to say and you're just shooting the shit. Sorry, it happens. I'm from Texas. And that's fine because that may be your audience. But for most of the small businesses and nonprofits, they have a specific message that they're trying to relay. So if you have that message, like what your organization is doing during this crisis, what your business is doing, how they're, especially restaurants, restaurants have been really great pumping out content about curbside pickup, etc. Webinars also give you a chance to establish your brand and create credibility, y'all. So I do a minimum of 4 webinars a year. Every quarter, we try to do something because we try to stay relevant, but we try to have content that is appropriate. And so right now, this is appropriate content because we want to provide as many free resources as we can. The best social media platform. So people always talk about this. What does paid mean? What does unpaid mean? So just to kind of break it down, Unpaid media is when you post information online and you don't boost it. You don't add your credit card, you don't boost it. There's no targeting geo, no SEO with that. It's just straight organic unpaid media. So JMT Media, we actually specialize in what we call unpaid media. And there's a few reasons for that. One, even on the press side, we do unpaid media press. And the reason for that is because I feel that when a client hires our company, they're not paying me an extra $2,000 to make sure that they're in New York Times. They're already paying my agency. So I just, on an ethical level, for me, I can't. There are other clients that are like, Jaclyn, I have a budget. I want to boost this out because it's a specific new audience that they're trying to gain. So I totally get it, but you have to figure out what's best for you. So for most nonprofits that are following this free webinar, you would probably do unpaid media unless you have a specific message that you want to get out to a specific segmented audience. So let's move on to the next slide because I want to be mindful of everybody's time. So a lot of folks are saying, Jaclyn, you've been supporting a lot of businesses. How can we support? So I kind of broke it down into 3 different areas. So certainly you want to share content about your company, your organization. What are y'all doing right now? Massimo from Venom, he's doing an excellent job pushing out new ways to package his beverages, to package his food. He's had some amazing stories, and he's been putting and posting that information out in the social media world daily. The other part is share content about your community. So if you look at the Minthorn district page, because they have their own district, just like downtown Staten Island has their own kind of district, and New Dorp Business Merchants Association, the New Dorp Lane, each of them have a few different businesses under their main umbrella. They are each promoting the different small businesses and nonprofits that are in that district. So if you continue to do that, that'll help expand your visibility on an organic level. And then the third, we've seen this a lot happening, partnering with other small businesses to expand services. So for instance, SIEDC started hosting their own Be Live, which is fantastic. They partnered with one of their digital media ambassadors, the Gotham Trinity Productions. So it's 2 separate businesses working together to get the same message out the door. So there's nothing a matter with partnerships on a business to business level or business to nonprofit level. And so those are some tips and tricks of how to support small businesses in the digital age. Let's move on to the next slide. But as we're doing that, I'm going to get some more coffee. All right, y'all. So there are a lot of things that are happening in regards to small business services on a city, on a state, and on a federal level. JMT Media is putting together this huge master document that we'll be sharing with the Staten Island Not-for-Profit Association, the Chamber of Commerce, SIEDC. We're going to be blasting it and putting it out there. Essentially, here's what's happening, y'all. All of the loans and grants for small businesses, they send you one link and then you click the link and it's like 20 pages of content. Most small businesses right now, they don't have the time or mental capacity to really go through each of these loans and how it applies to them, et cetera. So what we did at JMT Media is we have dedicated staff that are going through each of these loan applications and loan details. We're creating this in a basic 1-page document. It'll probably be 2 pages because now with the new CARES Act that came out and PPE loan program that came out, it's essentially a document where it's like you can go through and say, okay, I'm a small business. I have less than 50 employees. Here are the 6 programs I qualify for. And when you click on it, it'll say, this program, you're going to need these 3 documents. We have to make this clear and concise as possible. Certainly, the Chamber of Commerce, SIEDC, they've been posting their information along with the Small Business Development Center and New York City Small Business Services. And some of the grants that are out there, there's the New York City Employee Retention Grant Program that now has an official deadline of today at 5 o'clock. Nobody would know that unless you've been following it. So like these are the things that we're trying to get them out there. the New York City Small Business Continuity Loan Fund. And then, of course, there's numerous SBA financial assistance programs. So we encourage you to go straight to the source. What's the saying? It's go straight instead of straight to the camel, you go straight to the source the horse. I don't know. But I would highly recommend taking your time to go through each of these applications and try to get them in. One of the things that we did ask a few different folks are, when the new loans or new programs come out, try to apply immediately, even if you get denied, because you want to be in the system. So that way you can have and submit follow-up paperwork. So take the time to go through this. I know that SIEDC just made an announcement that they are creating agents specifically for each of the businesses. So if you have a business and you need help walking through each of these programs, they're going to assign you a specific agent, which is fantastic because it's a lot of paperwork. Let's take a look and see if we have any other questions, because if not, we're going to close out because we want to be mindful of people's times. Let me see here. What other questions do we have that are coming through? There's my baby girl. I hear her in the background. All right, y'all. So if you have any questions, this presentation is actually going to be posted on the jmtmedia.nyc website. We have templates. We have the PowerPoint presentations that we've been doing. So you'll be able to see that. We're also sharing the resources that the Chamber of Commerce and SIEDC are submitting to us. And I think we are good to go. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate the thoughts. You're very welcome, Julia. All right, y'all. So if you have any questions, just feel free to direct message us through Facebook or Instagram or through our email. You have a wonderful Family Friday. Today's Fancy Friday, so I'm wearing an old bridesmaid's dress. And anyhow, take care and be well. Bye, y'all.